Sharon, ShareAlike, yeah!
Hi guys! Today we're going to talk about how to make some costumes. We're going to start with a very simple costume, your basic bodysuit. It's going to be a full bodysuit made out of 4-way stretch spandex. It's going to have a zipper up the back and it'll be kind of like a turtleneck. So it's just a really, really simple, basic bodysuit. It's the first costume that we're going to talk about. So I make all of my patterns myself and I cut them out of the paper that you can get at the hardware store. I think it goes under like wood floors, but it's like a 36-inch wide roll of paper. And that's what I make all of my patterns out of. So this is my bodysuit pattern. It's got a bunch of writing on it. I've used this thing forever. I've got like where my nipple is, and I've got like, I use it sometimes to make costumes that are more like a swimming suit pattern. So I've got lines to show where those things are. But this particular bodysuit has a seam that runs up the front of the body in the center, and then there'll also be a seam that goes in the back that has the zipper on it. Sometimes you can make bodysuits too that don't have any seams on the front at all, but this particular one does have a seam going up the center. So what I'm going to do is cut this out of white fabric. Now this is your 4-way stretch spandex. For every costume that I'm going to show you how to make, you're going to want to use 4-way stretch spandex, because if you try to use something that only stretches right and left but not up and down, it's not going to work. So make sure you use 4-way stretch. Alright, now we're going to try cutting this out. I know it's kind of scary because spandex is not cheap, but let's lay this fabric out now. And you can see that we have it folded so that we're going to have 2 pieces of fabric that we're going to be cutting through. And then we're going to put our pattern on top of it. I have one of these cutting tables that I can use my cutting wheel on. I bought this online. It's a really big one. It's like a 4 foot by 8 foot, I think, cutting table. It's really nice. So if you don't have one like this, you can use scissors if you'd rather. And what I usually do is I don't want to waste too much fabric, so I'm gonna like fold this so that we're getting the most use out of the fabric as possible. Alright. Now we're just gonna take our cutting wheel and we're gonna start cutting around our pattern. And don't be scared. Just cut right up to your pattern, all the way around. You can see here I put a ruler down to help hold the pattern down. This is up on your sleeve. And then we're cutting around the neckline. Now, for this particular one, since I said we're gonna do like a turtleneck, I'm not cutting the neck very low at all. I'm gonna cut it right up at the top. This will all make sense when we start sewing it together. Okay, now we've got it all about cut out. So we're gonna take it over to the sewing machine and we're gonna start doing some sewing. The first thing that we're gonna do is sew this front part together. This is the front of the bodysuit going right down the center of your body in the front. And right down here then is the crotch. All right, so let's take this over to the sewing table and start sewing. All right, let's do it. We're gonna sew these shoulders together, and then we'll come back and we'll put our zipper in. All right, so now we have the very front sewn together, and we also sewed this part on the shoulders together. So the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna put in our turtleneck around the very top. So usually what I'll do is I take my ruler and I use that to cut a section for the turtleneck. But first I wanna measure my neck and see how long I want it to be. So we're gonna take the little fabric tape measure and just put it around the neck. And this is about where I want it. I don't want it really tight up in here. I'll be choking all night at the show. So I wanted to, just a little bit loose. So there you go. My neck is right about, we're gonna do it about 18 inches. So I'm gonna put this down on the fabric and I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm folding the fabric over and I'm gonna cut a piece out that's like 18 inches long. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're just cutting right along until we get to 18. And then this is the part that's gonna go on the neck. All right, so let's take that back over to the machine again and we're gonna sew that onto the neck. All right, we've got our neck sewn on now, and the next step is gonna be putting in the zipper. So I always use these invisible zippers. You've seen me talk about them before. This is a 22-inch invisible zipper, and it's white, just like our fabric. And if you want to go look at my zipper tutorial, I got one that shows how to put zippers in. You might want to check it out, but we'll go ahead and do it again here too. So the first thing that we're gonna do is put the zipper onto the bodysuit, and I always use this Wonder Tape. And Wonder Tape is sticky on both sides, and that's what I use to put the zipper down. So let's go ahead and start putting that down on the zipper. You can see I'm just stretching it down onto the zipper, and then we're gonna stick it onto the bodysuit. And I don't stretch the fabric or anything like that when I'm putting the zipper in. I just leave the fabric completely flat and just stick the zipper down. Okay, we've got both sides of the zipper down. So now we'll go over to the machine and we're gonna sew the zipper on. I've shown you how to put in zippers before on the zipper tutorial, so you can check there and see exactly how to do it, but you just sew right along the edge of the zipper with this zipper foot, and you get right up close to the zipper, and then you just sew it on. Now for putting on the zipper, you don't need to use a stretch stitch. You can just use a regular stitch. I usually set it on maybe about 3 for the length of the stitch. Now once you get your zipper sewn on, you still have to finish the very bottom of the zipper. So we're just gonna put the 2 pieces of fabric together at the very bottom of the zipper, and now we are gonna switch it to the stretch stitch. And then we'll sew just about maybe 2 inches of a seam at the bottom of the zipper. And now you can see that that finishes off the zipper really nicely at the bottom. Now we're just going to take it over to the serger and we're going to start serging the rest of our seams. We're going to serge up the butt crack. Now we're going to serge the legs together. I usually start right at the crotch and sew down one leg. And then I turn it over and start back at the crotch again and sew down the other leg. Now we're just going to sew our sleeves to the bodysuit. And I'm making some strategic little notches in the bodysuit and on the sleeve. It just kind of helps me figure out where to line things up when I'm sewing. The way that I'm finishing off these sleeves and the ankles of the bodysuit is just by serging the edges of the sleeve first. Once I get that serged, then I can just fold them over, and once again I'm going to use that stretch stitch on the machine, and I can just sew all the way around the bottom of the sleeve and also the ankles of the bodysuit. I'm overlapping it maybe about a 1/2 inch. And it's on the inside, of course. All right, I think we did pretty good. We made our first bodysuit. It's got a zipper up the back, a turtleneck. It's really tight and fitting, and you can use it in a lot of ways in different costumes. So I hope this helped you out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.
ShareAlike, yeah!
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys.